Good day, everyone. Welcome once again to Darchi Waga's channel. My name is Darlene Chermith Wagas Estorgillo, and today I will show you a case digest of the case Green versus Green. This was decided by the Supreme Court in February 17, 2025, and was released by the Supreme Court last week. So here are the facts of the case. In 2006, Jeffrey, a United States Navy retiree, met Rowena at the bar owned by Rowena's mother in Angeles City, Pampanga. They began a friendship that later developed into a romantic relationship. Jeffrey was aware that Rowena had two children from previous relationship, and Rowena knew that Jeffrey was married, though his divorce was pending. On August 22, 2008, Rowena gave birth to her third child, Abigail, for whom Jeffrey acknowledged paternity. On May 8, 2010, Jeffrey and Rowena were married at St. Ignatius de Loyola Cathedral in Quezon City. After their marriage, Jeffrey worked and stayed in Makati City while Rowena lived part-time with him and part-time in Angeles City with her children. On July 7, 2014, however, Jeffrey filed a petition for the declaration of nullity of their marriage under Article 36 of the Family Code, citing psychological incapacity. In support of his petition, Jeffrey presented evidence of Rowena's alleged infidelity, dishonesty, financial mismanagement, and pathological gambling. He also presented a psychiatric evaluation report from Dr. Maria Bernadette Manalo Arsena, which was based on interviews with Jeffrey, Rowena, Rowena's mother, and the spouse's mutual friend. The report outlined the following facts: that Rowena incurred debts amounting to approximately 4 million pesos. A DNA test revealed that Jeffrey was not the father of Abigail, although he had previously accepted her as his own child. Jeffrey discovered photographs of Rowena with another man being physically affectionate. Rowena was found to have been dishonest about financial matters, including the house they believed to be theirs, which Rowena mishandled. Rowena had undergone 3 abortions and was found using abortifacient medications. There were allegations of verbal abuse, dishonesty, and infidelity. Rowena had numerous debts and exhibited signs of pathological gambling. Rowena was accused of falsifying the title to the house they believed they owned, which was actually squandered due to her financial mismanagement. So the regional trial court initially ruled that there was insufficient evidence to support Jeffrey Green's claim of psychological incapacity to perform his marital obligations. On the other hand, the RTC found that Rowena Manlutak Green's psychological condition, specifically borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, which fall under the category of personality disorders not otherwise specified, was supported by the evidence on record. Despite this finding, Rowena filed a motion for reconsideration, which the RTC denied in August 11, 2017 order. Rowena then appealed the RTC's decision before the Court of Appeals. And on August 16, 2017, the Office of the Solicitor General filed a manifestation stating that it did not find any grounds to seek the reversal of the RTC's decision. In its June 30, 2010 decision, the Court of Appeals affirmed the RTC's ruling. So, gi-affirm sa Court of Appeals ang ruling sa RTC. And the Court of Appeals found that Jeffrey had successfully proven that Rowena was psychologically incapacitated to comply with her essential marital obligations. So, it reached the Supreme Court. The sole issue in the Supreme Court is whether or not the petitioner Rowena is psychologically incapacitated to comply with her marital obligations so as to make their marriage with respondent Jeffrey annullable under Article 36 of the Family Code. And this is one of the developments in the Supreme Court's rulings on the article or on the psychological incapacity ground under the Family Code, Article 36. So niingon ng Supreme Court, this court denies the petition. Article 36 provides that a contract or a marriage contracted by any party who at the time of the celebration was psychologically incapacitated to comply with the essential marital obligations of marriage shall likewise be void even if such incapacity becomes manifest only after its solemnization. The Supreme Court further said that psychological incapacity as a ground to declare the nullity of marriage has been first characterized by gravity, juridical antecedents, and incurability. The Supreme Court went on to say that psychological incapacity must be characterized by these three characteristics, and that the incapacity must be grave or serious such that the party would be incapable of carrying out the ordinary duties required in marriage. It must be rooted in the history of the party antedating the marriage, although the overt manifestations may emerge only after the marriage. Mao ni ang juridical antecedents. And it must be incurable, okay? Or even if it were curable, the cure would be beyond the means of the party involved. So di inana ang pag-explain sa Supreme Court with the three characteristics of psychological incapacity. Further, according to the Supreme Court, psychological incapacity should refer to no less than a mental, not physical incapacity that causes a party to be truly ignorant of the basic marital covenants that concomitantly must be assumed and discharged by the parties of the marriage, which, as expressed by Article 68 of the Family Code, include their mutual obligations to live together, observe love, respect, and fidelity, and render help and support. There is hardly any doubt that the intent of the law has been to confine the meaning of psychological incapacity to the most serious cases of personality disorders, clearly demonstrative of an utter insensitivity or inability to give meaning and significance to the marriage. This psychological condition must exist at the time of the marriage is celebrated. According to the Supreme Court, similarly, the totality of the evidence presented proved the petitioner's psychological incapacity to comply with her marital obligations. Respondent discharged the burden of proof to establish the psychological incapacity with clear and convincing evidence. Aside from the psychiatric evaluation by Dr. Arsena, respondent attached documentary evidence such as copies of the collection cases filed against the petitioner, the DNA test result on Abigail's paternity, and the pictures of petitioner hugging and holding hands with another man in order to prove his allegation of petitioner's infidelity, lies, and debts. The psychiatric evaluation report of the parties is further given probative value since it was offered in evidence and the psychologist conducted a series of standard tests and interviewed the petitioner, the respondent, the petitioner's mother, and the spouse's mutual friend. According to Dr. Manalo Arsena, petitioner's personality structure of borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder are characterized and manifested in her frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, having unstable relationships with their own mother and the petitioner, the unstable self-image, impulsivity, affective instability, and difficulty in controlling anger. Further, the Supreme Court said that the psychiatric evaluation report further establishes the gravity, incurability, root cause, and the permanence of the parties' psychological or personality structures. According to Dr. Manalo Arsena, petitioner's personality structure is a product of trust issues that existed during the early stages of childhood and her poor parental role models. So in this case, no, her personality structure is found to be continuing and incurable, considering that the obligations to live together, provide love, give respect, loyalty, and fidelity among each other were no longer existent in their marriage. Furthermore, as noted by Dr. Manalo Arsena, petitioner's personality with borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder makes it difficult for her to assume essential marital obligations with the respondent. Her unstable interpersonal relationships, the self-image, emotions, impulsivity, deceitfulness, consistent irresponsibility, and lack of remorse resulted in her refusal to live with Jeffrey. They have no fixed family domicile. She lied about Abigail's paternity. She was a gambler and a spendthrift, but was entirely dependent on Jeffrey's support. And she made one lie after another and got deeper and deeper in debt, resulting in civil and criminal cases. All told, in the Supreme Court, since the petitioner has grave and incurable psychological incapacity consisting of her personality structure rooted in her childhood and manifested during the marriage, her marriage with the respondent is declared null and void. So this was the case now where the Supreme Court said that the testimony of the petitioner, the the mutual friend of the petitioner, and the psychiatrist in this case, were rendered by the Supreme Court sufficient to prove that the respondent, when this was filed, no, has a grave and incurable psychological incapacity. So there, that's the newest case by the Supreme Court, Green versus Green. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so that you will be notified if there will be any video that I will be posting in the future. Thank you very much. I'm Ping.